Greetings and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 46 of the Angry Chicken, the Hearthstone podcast. I'm Garrett Weinzerl. I am joined as always by Willie Dills Gregory, and returning after missing last week, Miss Jocelyn Moffat. The band is back together, ladies and gents.
Hooray!
Huzzah! Kalu Kalay. Yeah, we're back. We're back. It's another episode. I was just before we went live. I was lamenting. I'm like, I think we're coming up on 1 year. Not quite there yet. October 15th will be 1 year of the Angry Chicken podcast.
That's crazy to me because it seems like we just started this show. Still.
Yep.
So true.
This
I
is-
can't believe we're
excitement
all
is
still
real.
so into it.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I'm just lying. Actually, I don't play anymore. I stopped. I just show up every
Well,
week.
yeah.
for those-
Last week we did a little pre-show, and you were at rank 19, Garrett. What's up with that, buddy?
Destiny.
Okay.
Destiny is up with that.
Okay. Well, here. Okay. This actually points out something really cool about Hearthstone. Hearthstone is always there. It's to me what Hearthstone is going to become eventually for a lot of people, and probably already is that way for a lot of people. Is the game you play whenever whenever you've moved a game out of your repertoire.
Oh yeah,
right?
and
Like
I'm
you-
getting mad burnout on Destiny, so
Sure.
I played
And then you
quite
come
a-
back to Hearthstone.
I
Like,
played quite a bit of Hearthstone this past
it's going to
week.
happen that way and this is kind of, I think the longevity of Hearthstone is kind of depend on that. You know, they got the 200 million players or whatever it was, 20 million.
20.
Sorry,
You added
200, whatever.
200 is a
You
little
added
much.
a
200
few.
million people. No, 20 million players. But you know, this is the kind of game that most people play casually. Obviously, we know about all the hardcores and the tournament players and whatnot. But you know, most of the player base is people who just kind of pop in every now and then, just do their dailies, maybe do an arena run every now and then, play a couple of casual games, try out the weird decks, play the milkshake deck, whatever. And those people are kind of going to always be there with this type of game. It's awesome. Like that's how this game kind of is for me right now, except when I jump back into it, it's fully back into it. But I pop out, play a little Diablo, pop out, play some WoW, pop back in, play a ton of Hearthstone.
Well, you're just the running the Blizzard gamut.
Yeah, kind of. But okay, we got to mention it on the show, and I talked about it briefly on the instance. I bought Magic cards. I've been making fun of Garrett about
We
the
don't need
Magic
to
for a long
talk about
time.
this too
No,
much.
we don't need to talk about too much, but Hearthstone got me to buy Magic cards, honestly. I would have never done this. I played Magic, like the app and whatnot, and I always kind of had a peripheral interest in Magic, but I just kind of wanted to see what this is like the biggest card game outside of Hearthstone in my world. And I was like, I got to play this at some point. I have to. And I went and bought the cards, and I'm fully into it right now. I don't have anybody to play with, but I'm totally looking over my cards. I'm looking up what cards are good on the internet. I'm kind of trying to figure out how to play this damn game, and Hearthstone's responsible for that too.
We're going to get you set up with a proper Magic Online account. That way you and I can play
Okay.
with little effort. That, or we will just point our web cameras at our desk, light it somewhat well, and
I'm
play
down
Magic
for
that
all
way.
of it. I don't even care. I tried to get my roommate to play me the other night, and he just was not interested. I was like, come on, man. I built a deck for you. You play it. I don't even care if you know how to play
You
it.
just described-
I just want to untap lands for real this time.
You just described my weekends with my fiance. Hey, babe, I got this new deck together. I really want to play it. Except sometimes she's just like,
Chest.
yes. Except I get to play with the deck that has the Planeswalker that kicks ass. That's the deck I'm going to use. So you better bring your A game, honey. And I'm just like, you
Well,
know what a
see-
Planeswalker is. So this is why I'm marrying you. Take it.
You gotta feel lucky though that you have a fiance you could even think to ask that to. So like,
Yeah.
you done good on that front, Garrett.
That's why there's a ring on it, man.
Put a ring on it.
On the finger being the it, not the beautiful woman I'm marrying. She is not property.
Oh, you got a ring on it. You mean
I was
she's
gonna
going
say,
second?
but-
Oh, sorry.
Anyways, you can tell we're all having some beers tonight.
Yay.
Yeah. Anyways, Jocelyn, welcome back. You were at a wedding over the weekend.
I was, yeah. My co-host on Gamers Inn, Ryan, got married. So that was the geekiest wedding I've ever been to. It was fantastic. They had little Lego men on top of the cake, and like each table had a theme. So there was like a WoW table and a Diablo table.
I saw
and-
that on Ryan's Twitter account. I was losing my mind because Katie and I are planning our wedding. I'm just like, oh, this is so awesome.
Did you see the full picture of the cake with
No.
all the little Mario mushrooms?
Nope.
as cupcakes
Nope.
around. Oh my God, it was awesome.
There's Ryan, if you're listening, there's a severe lack of your wedding photos online, and you're one of the people I actually give a shit about seeing the wedding of. So please post some pictures.
I was gonna say, yeah, I posted some, but yeah, oh man, his photographer was insane. They're gonna have probably like 5,000 pictures to go through. Literally, they were doing pictures from 4 in the afternoon until literally 10:30 at night. I was just like, man, my face would hurt.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I didn't play anything because I had a lack of Wi-Fi, so couldn't even play on my iPad. It was a very, very sad week. I was going through actual literal withdrawal, but
Excuses.
yeah, really.
Oh, a wedding and a cabin and whatnot.
that's why I saw those pictures from the wedding of you with some post-it notes where you drew Hearthstone cards on them.
Yeah, I tried. No one would play with me though.
And then you
Like-
realized how hard it was to keep track of persistent health on multiple minions when you do it physically.
Oh, it's so true.
I gotta say though, trying to figure out the magic stuff, I'm so glad that Hearthstone doesn't require me to shuffle anything or put counters on anything. Or
Yeah, you're spoiled.
I'm excited about that in a sense, but I'm also, when I go to play Hearthstone, I'm like, you figure it out, Hearthstone.
There's not a
I
very
attack with this. What happens? I don't know.
Yeah.
You figure it out.
yeah, there's not an extremely strict order in which you can perform specific actions. It's just like, hey, it's your turn.
Yeah.
Do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, do stuff and see
is
what
this
happens.
stack you speak of? I don't even know what that is.
The number one thing I wish there was somehow an analogous version of in Paper Magic that there is in Hearthstone. I wish I could just like hover my card over my opponent's crap and see what it'll do. Like, hey, well, this
Who dies,
actually
who
works.
lives.
Yeah. Because man, I get sometimes you get into some stuff. It's like, well, he has first strike, but he has death. What happens here? But
Yeah, you have to like figure it out mentally.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to pull out my phone in the middle of a Magic game and look up rules.
Oh, so that's allowed? It's not like
Not
outside
at a
help.
tournament. Like I'm talking like just playing with friends.
Well, in a
Or-
tournament, you just ask somebody, right?
There's
You bring
tournaments
over a
there are
person.
judges.
Yeah.
You just hey judge, and they come over and they
This is also though points out like Hearthstone needed to kind of get some of that straight because, and we've talked about it on the show that it used to be the death rattles weren't necessarily in a specific order and all that kind of stuff. It's really good that they've kind of tackled that. And there's a couple more things I feel like are a little bit weird, but bugs are a really big problem when you're talking about these types of games because everything does have to be very specific. And when we talk about tournaments, we're leading up to this big BlizzCon tournament now. It's not that far away. And if something were to if minions were still dancing, oh my God, the fury and the anger that would follow if you were playing a tournament for $250,000.
Oh man, you just took me back, man.
Yeah, do you
Dancing
remember that?
minions.
Dancing minions. It was the worst ever. Thank God that is
I
gone.
distinctly remember going on a swear fest while I was in a Skype call with you, and I didn't know that you were streaming because I lost the game thanks to dancing minions.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
a
Dancing
certain
Minions. That was
employee,
a dark time. For
and then
sure.
a certain employee of a certain company messaged me in game, going, "Hey, I just heard your tirade. I feel your pain. I feel your pain." But anyways, we got some stuff to talk about this week. Let's get into it. Let's get into the news.
Good news, everyone!
You know, Ben Brode came on the show, and he mentioned that we're all probably much better at this game than we're giving ourselves credit for. That just because you're not a legend-ranked player doesn't mean that you're not in the upper echelon of percentage of the player base of Hearthstone. And it turns out, unlike his critique of Duplicate, he was not lying.
That's the bumper for this segment has never been more true. Good news, everyone.
Good news, everyone.
You're way better
You're-
at this game. than you
Exactly,
think you are.
unless you're still at Angry Chicken rank. In which
Yeah,
case,
then you're crap. I'm sorry.
In which case, welcome.
Don't worry, we'll take care
This
of you.
is
We'll
the
get you
show
there.
for you.
Yeah.
We can't promise much, but we can promise we will get you to rank 24. If you listen to the
can
show,
get you
you
to
will
rank
at
20
least,
at least, for sure.
get to rank 24. But yeah, Blizzard put up official stats. This is on the official side, obviously coming from their internal statistics that they have access to, of showing the ranked distribution percentages, and they're surprising. Even after hearing, Ben Brode kind of mention this on the show, on our show, without, obviously hard stats. I was still surprised to see how small, like between rank 5 and rank 1, that's only 2% of the entire player base of Hearthstone.
Yeah, so 2 out of 100.
What?
But that's there's a couple of things here. So 0.5% being in Legend, 1 out of every 200 players. That's kind of interesting. You would think, based on reading the Reddit and stuff like that everyone's a Legend ranked player.
Well, yeah, that's because you're anonymous.
Yeah,
and you can make
I
wild
can say
claims
I want.
that cannot
be Legend. Yeah.
that cannot be proven.
But no, I think, I mean, this doesn't really surprise me because I played a lot of games for a lot of years, and generally this is kind of how it breaks down. Even though the vocal minority makes it sound like if you're not Legend, you're crap. The actual truth is that it's very few people who even have the time to grind a Legend. They could be amazing, but they don't have time to grind to Legend. I think I am a fairly decent player. If I had time to sit and play all day, I could definitely get there. I don't really. It doesn't at this point mean enough to me to get there that I'm going to sacrifice all the other things going on to do it, and that's probably a lot of the people. So this kind of breaks down to kind of what I expected, but it's good to have it actually vocalized by Blizzard, I think.
Yeah, no, I think this kind of thing was great. I really like looking at it, and I think it's great for the community to see these statistics. I mean, Jocelyn, what was your reaction to seeing this?
Oh, I think it's so great. I mean, I had the same sort of reaction when Ben was actually on the show, because I think he said something about around 10% of players are rank 10 or higher. And I was kind of like, oh my God, this is actually officially the best I've ever been at a video game. This is amazing.
I'm in the top 10%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That never happens. Usually just because I don't have the time to commit to be super duper awesome at everything. I know, shocking, but
you filthy casual. Oh my!
I know, but it was really, really cool to find out that I'm actually up in like the top, I guess 9%, 8%. 8%,
yeah.
8%, yeah. Anyone over rank 10, yeah.
Yeah, everybody over rank 10, that's 8% right now.
Yeah, so
pretty cool.
So cool. It makes me feel so much better about myself and the game, and it makes me want to go play more, because I'm just like, oh wow, I'm really good. I should play this all the time.
It's funny because I've noticed that as you rank up, if you get to about rank 10, the difference in actual play that you get at rank 10 to say rank 1 is actually not a huge difference. It really just becomes about who's going to put in the time, who's got an incrementally higher win percentage. They're going to move up a little faster. Obviously there's some pros who are just insane. They go up amazingly fast. I mean, I've watched like Forsen stream or Kalento or any of these guys, and they just burn through the ranks, no problem. But for the most part, a guy I play at rank 9 is someone who doesn't often make very many mistakes. They kind of play their hand out in the proper manner. And, the difference between a mistake and what's the correct play is always a little bit hazy, and you never really know exactly what the perfect play is. And that's just kind of how card games work, because it's incomplete information. But they don't make the obvious mistakes. So the difference between, a rank 10 player and a Legend ranked player is actually not as big as people make it out to be. And this is straight up proof right here to me that, you top 10%, these are people who know how to play the game. And being ranked 10, don't feel bad about that. If you cannot get past rank 5, there's nothing wrong with you, man. You're fine. You're doing good. And everything is cool.
Yeah, I mean, and this was something I was kind of assuming, and something I brought up when talking to friends. I don't think we've talked about it much on the show, but the ranking system in Hearthstone is so much. It seems so much more granular to something like StarCraft. In StarCraft, you were more or less. Okay, people got elitist on the StarCraft Reddit, but they're jerks over there. But for the most part, you were respected if you were Diamond or above. But there's only 7 ranks in StarCraft. You've got Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Master, Grandmaster, and that's it. And Grandmaster.
So what rank is the respected rank in Hearthstone?
Right, exactly. And in Hearthstone, the people over in the forums and whatnot were treating it like if you weren't Legend, you were crap. And it's like, no, you're insane. Yeah. There's 26 possible ranks you could be.
Yeah.
I feel, and then once you get to Legend, there's rank 6, I could be rank 16 Legend, and that's kind of amazing. But the way I kind of think of it is that if I get to rank 5 in a season, that means I've played pretty good in that season. I've played a lot in that season, and I'm doing okay. If I get to legend, that's amazing. But if you just get up to that point, like you're doing good, you're doing fine. You're playing here and there, and you're winning more often than you're losing by quite a big margin, and you should be definitely proud if you get there. That's like a big achievement, I think. And then it gets real grindy from there, and that's where a lot of people probably give up because screw this, man. Like one win and one loss equals a star every single time. There's no more win streaks. It gets really grindy. So most people who have a lot of things going on aren't going to be able to do that full grind because that's 25 wins above your loss rate, and that's grindy. That's hard. Yep. So I kind of count rank 5 as like that's the plateau of I know I'm pretty good at this game. And I think rank 10 is also like I'm pretty good at this game too, but it's like you don't need to be legend at all, and people need to kind of knock that S off, dude. Getting a legend being the one thing that makes you able to talk about this game, screw that. That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't know. You should set personal goals for yourself. I mean, for me, like Dills, it sounds like 5 is kind of your personal goal. Like, okay, cool. I feel accomplished this season. I can.
It's been like I've gotten to rank 5 at least every season, and that's kind of been the deal. Is like if I can get there, that means I get enough stars next season. Where if I wanted to make a push, if I found enough time in my life, I could do it with the bonus stars and stuff. So that's kind of the goal. I've had a couple seasons where I've been like, I'm going to actually do it, and then inevitably I never have time. But I've gotten to 4 stars rank 1, and then just didn't have time to play anymore, and it sucks. But whatever, I'm fine with that. It is what it is. But yeah, I think that's a great tip though, Garrett. Is set personal goals. Beat the season before. If this is something that's important to you, just beat yourself. That's kind of the measuring stick. Is what have I done previously, and can I beat that? I don't need to measure myself against the best players in the world.
Yeah, like for me personally, I don't even know why this is. It's not like this. I don't set this for myself. Like, hey, this is how I'm gonna play Hearthstone. But it seems like every season, what I end up doing is the new season comes, I fart around in like casual play, building my own weird decks just to get a bunch of dailies done to grind up gold because I still don't have all the cards I want, and I'm trying very hard not to spend any more money on this game. Then the middle of the season comes and I do a bunch of arenas and I play on my fiance's account because at first I just want to get all the card backs, and now I'm kind of enjoying the fact that it's a free to play account, and it's just drastically different from having all the cards I have.
It's very interesting playing on a free. Yeah, I log into my EU account every now and then. It's like it's actually very interesting to try to build a deck that works when you don't have all the options.
Yep.
And you can do it. It's possible. I mean, all the basic cards are actually there's some good ones. It's just finding a spot in a good deck for this. Replacing this necessary card with another card that kind of does the same thing, but maybe not quite.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last 2 weeks of the season, I get a fire on my ass. I'm like, I got to end this at least above rank 9. And then I just blast through some games, and I rocket up past rank 9, usually with little issues.
Well, there's the other issue here, too, of when do they measure this? Because the end of the season is easier. It just by nature is, because the beginning of the season, I mean, I had day 1 of this season, I think it was, I played a whole bunch that night on the 1st. And by the end of the night, I was playing like Wreckful, and I think I had a couple games against like Strife Crow, and like basically I was playing the other people who were grinding that night and the good players, right, at that very end, because I was kind of I was like keeping pace with that group of players. And then I didn't play for like a week, and then I logged back in, and I was at rank 10, and the game was totally easy again, because now I'm not playing against these guys with very particular decks. It was just kind of not bad players, but not those guys. You know what I mean? Where we're both kind of on the same level, whereas there I was kind of reaching above my pay grade, if it were. So it does get easier as the season goes on, because those people all move up. They kind of get out of your way.
Right.
So I don't know when they took this, but either way, this is kind of proof that you don't need to be a legend. You just need to be where you are, and you need to be happy with that.
Right. Cool.
So good job, everybody.
Everyone, give yourself a collective Hearthstone pat on the back.
Pat yourself on the back.
Do it. Get in there. We also have the top 16 players now for the North American and EU regions for the Hearthstone World Championships. I'm not going to read off every single name here because that'd be boring. But
this is exciting, though. There's some big names.
It's the beginning of the end for the Hearthstone World Championships for 2014. We've got some seriously awesome players in here. And so there's going to be some more events between now and BlizzCon because it's going to be whittled down to 8 players total, so 4 from NA and 4 from EU for the BlizzCon, for the tournament at BlizzCon. So, and
there's big names in here. I mean, NA, you got Hyped, Firebat, Chalky. Oh, son of a bitch. No, I like Chalky, but he's just,
what
is he beat me in that tournament.
What just happened to the show, man?
Hyped, Firebat, Chalky, that's Admiral, Tides of Time, Strife Crow, some big names. And EU, Naria, Kalento, you got Reynad is in EU somehow. Okay. So I mean, you got Diz, so there's and Life Coach as well. So there's some big names who made it through, and that's cool. But there's gonna be one new big name. I swear to God, if a big name wins this, I'm gonna be very surprised. I think we're gonna find like the diamond in the rough, the guy we did not know about.
I hope so.
Just come through
like
and
the guy that just goes by Matthew.
Yeah.
Like, and your winner of the 2014 Hearthstone World Championships is Bob.
Yeah, exactly. Or Max.
Can't wait. It's gonna be sweet, and he's gonna be huge on Twitch. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. But by the way, Reynad being from EU, that's like all of the North American players for the StarCraft tournament always being almost entirely Korean.
I do think though that there's some other weird things about the qualifiers, and here you go. Somebody's saying he qualified because of DreamHack, so there you go. There's some weird stuff and weird other ways to get in, and that's whatever. That's fine. But then they had to play through those other qualifiers to get to this 16. So all of these players played good, and they deserve their spot. And I'm excited, man. It's just seeing these names and seeing that some of these players actually made it that we know, and then all these players who we don't know, I'm very intrigued by. So I'm looking forward to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know where we'll be spending the bulk of our time at BlizzCon.
Yeah. Outside of the guild hall, it's probably going to be a lot of the Hearthstone stuff for sure.
Hold my beer. Also this week, this card back that I guess was Datamind has been making the rounds, and it has been found out that it is actually the Tespa card back, which we had heard that they were going to be giving a card back away for participation in these collegiate Hearthstone leagues, and this is apparently for that, and it looks pretty boss.
It is such a cool card back. I hadn't seen this until literally I opened up the notes and I was like, how do I get that? Oh, crap. Collegiate esports.
Gotta go to college. Gotta go back to school.
That's not me. It'd be worth it for this card back, man. It's so cool looking.
You just gotta do a Rodney Dangerfield and just go back to school. Join the swim team or a dive team or whatever it was. Yeah.
It was a dive team, yeah. No respect.
That's not fair though. This is a really cool card back.
I mean, we don't have actual details on how to unlock it yet, but we are kind of assuming
it seems
that it has something to do with being part of your college's Hearthstone team. But
just because I'm old and fat, I don't get to have a cool Dalaran card back. Got it. Thanks, Blizzard.
Well, you're young and fat in college. What's the difference?
Less acne.
I can't imagine Dills with acne. Oh, that's a scary thought.
It actually never happened. I never.
Okay. I was more or less lucky. But yeah. All right. Awesome. Well, let's keep moving forward. Let's kick off this week's strategy segment.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay.
This week's strategy segment, Dills, you wanted to talk about the handlock, and those listening may be like, hey, haven't you guys talked about the handlock before?
Yes.
And to that we say, calm down. This is the post-Nax handlock.
Totally different.
There's not much different, but the difference here is that Leroy is gone now. Not gone, but Leroy's been nerfed, and so the big bursty meta is kind of on the way out here, and we're getting more into the minion trading meta of this game, I think. And this is all conjecture at this point. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, But based on the two changes that were just made, and they went live today. I just played a bunch of games.
Yeah, they've been up for what, like 3 hours? As of
Yeah, I got
this
home
podcast?
at about 4:30, and I logged in. I started streaming about 4:45 or so and played. And I went on like 2 or 3 win streaks with the handlock. It's a lot of priests out there. There's a lot of other handlocks, and I didn't see a single hunter. And you know, Hunter is not necessarily gone, but Hunter at the moment is gone, similar to like Rogue was gone after the initial Rogue nerfs, right? And Hunter was initially gone after the first Unleash nerf. And the moment that these things get nerfed, people just kind of move away for the time being, and someone will figure out a good way to play Hunter at some point, and we'll be back. But for the time being, I feel like Handlock is going to be a really strong deck, so I kind of wanted to tackle it and where it stands now, if these cards are gone and these decks are gone, and what kind of Nax cards can fit into it that will help you along the way. So I feel like it's a good time to talk about Handlock again.
Yeah. This is slightly off topic, and feel free to move on from the subject very quickly. But I was just curious if the article's kind of old now, came out on September 3rd. Did you read Brian Kibler's post on competitive Hearthstone?
Yeah, about how I think we actually mentioned it briefly on one of the other shows.
Did we? I didn't think we had.
We did. Yeah, I think we talked
about the format and all that stuff, and how he wanted to go to like a single deck format more often. And
I don't think we mentioned it on the show, but
I think we did, but maybe not.
I think the week before it came out, we were talking about formats. I think whatever the case, I was just curious if you.
I thought we did mention it.
And I was wondering, like since Hunter has kind of disappeared since the nerfs up. Granted, it's only been 3 hours, but I'm kind of assuming this will be the trend for a little bit. I feel like if single deck tournament formats were more popular and existed, that maybe this wouldn't be as big of an issue because people would be more used to adapting the class that they like to play.
Sure. You know what? I think you would see less defined decks and more all-around decks is what I think you'd see. Like Handlock is very, very specific. Zoolock is very specific. Freeze Mage is very specific. The tournament meta has kind of brought around these really specific decks that absolutely counter another deck. But the ladder meta is always there, and the ladder meta you kind of have to, that in a way is similar to what a Magic tournament or something like that, where Kibler's got his history in. It's a little more similar to that, because I play one deck and I try to beat the field, and tournaments just haven't kind of evolved in that way yet. We'll see what happens down the road, but it is true. We've got some very specific decks just kind of based around the fact that these are good in tournaments, and the pros make them popular. People watch the tournaments and they bring them into the ladder, and a lot of play testing happens there. But I do think you would see, like, I just play Warlock,
Mm-hmm.
And I've got this build of Warlock, and it's got some Handlock and some Zoo and whatever. And that's actually the deck that I got second in that one tournament in, was kind of a hybrid Handlock Zoo at the time. And this was before that was kind of two known types of Warlock. But I had the quick starts. I had the Flame Imps and the Void Walkers and stuff like that. And then I had Jiraxis and Ragnaros in that deck. So that was definitely that kind of style of deck. And that may be the way things go if you get to a single deck format.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this post-Nax Handlock. I didn't mean to derail the conversation there.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I think it's an important point to make.
Yeah.
So it's a standard Handlock, and I played it a little bit, but I altered a couple things just because I'm facing a lot of other Handlocks. So a couple things were altered. I took out an Owl and I put in a Big Game Hunter. I took out one of the. What did I take out? I took out one of the Shadow Flames, and one of the Hellfires, and I put in Ragnaros and something else. Anyway, basically, like, you kind of have to like tailor this to your flavor. But what I put in this article is just like, here's like what the consistent one would be, where it's got the most amount of 2-ofs that you could have. So all of the 2-ofs to make it really consistent. That's what's in here. And really the additions that you get with Nax are that Handlock can put in Loatheb, Sludge Belcher, and that's going to make almost any deck better. Any kind of mid-range or control-y deck going to be instantly better with those two cards. But you put those in, but then you also take out the Leroy combo. And the Leroy combo was Leroy, Power Overwhelming, and Faceless Manipulator. And you take that out because you don't have the mana to cast that on turn 10 because that's going to be 11 mana now with the 5 mana Leroy. So basically the idea is don't win with that combo. Just win with the fact that you have all these massive creatures that come out. One good thing about if you play Handlock is you realize that the Leroy nerf doesn't hit you that hard because that was just one more win condition. You know, Handlock already had plenty of win conditions. Getting down to 10 health and then busting out, 2 0-cost Molten Giants and taunting them up, that's a win condition already. Playing 4 mana Mountain Giants on turn 4, 4 mana on turn 4 Mountain Giants, so 8/8s on turn 4, that's a win condition. Like, you can win the game from there. So Handlock already had plenty of those, and you're not so reliant on setting up a big combo with Handlock. So this deck is more about, build the big threats, control the board, win by swinging with 8/8s. That's kind of the deal here. And without the burn of Hunter, you can do this. You can actually get away with this. And it crushes several decks. I mean, it does really well against like Control Warrior and the Death Rattle Priest that we talked about last week, and Zoo, and a lot of these minion-based decks. It just absolutely crushes them because you can't deal with these huge minions anymore, and you can still clear the board plenty with the Shadow Flames and the Hellfires and whatnot. So I think it's a really good option right now, and I think you're going to see it all over the place. That being said, that means you're probably going to have to win the mirror match a lot. So Big Game Hunters and Black Knight, throw them in there, you guys. They're going to be really important.
Gotcha. So the mulligan phase, has it changed at all? Or are you still just looking for your Mountain Giant and your Earthen Ring Farseer if you go second?
No, it hasn't changed. So going first, you want to mulligan heavily for Mountain Giant and Twilight Drake. Those are your MVPs when you're going first. If you're going second, the issue is that you need to play something on one of those turns because the coin is another card and it alters the math, if you will, to get out your Mountain Giant on turn 4. So you have to play something on turn 2 or 3. So what you want is Earthen Ring Farseers or Ancient Watchers if you're going second. And if you can get one of those, you can play, if it's the Watcher, you play it on turn 2, then you tap on turn 3, 4 mana Mountain Giant on turn 4. So that hasn't really changed. I would say like the biggest thing that's really changed is just that you have a couple of spots free now, and you can start putting things in like Sylvanas is making its way back in, I think. And Sylvanas had kind of left because there wasn't really room for it. You can also go with the Jaraxxus format again if you want to, and that's actually going to do really well again too. So those are really the big changes, is that you take that out, you open up a couple of spots, and you put some things back in.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it's really good. I want everyone go check out the article. I want to hear from other people what they've done with their Handlocks, because Handlock is one of those decks. There's a couple of core cards. There's cards you can't really take out or do without, but for the most part, there's a lot of room. It's similar to like the Control Warrior. There's a lot of room to kind of manipulate some of those late game cards, or even some of the early game cards. Like you can see some people playing, some of these cards early on, like Double Owl. And I've even seen people playing like the Egg and the Void Terrors and stuff like that to get some early game kind of tempo and aggression. And so you can kind of tailor this the way you like, but there definitely is kind of a core set of cards with the Handlock. It's about 20 cards or so, and then you can kind of manipulate from there. But I think we're going to see a big rise of the Handlock, which may mean that we see a big rise of maybe Mage. I think Mage may come back because he's got Burn that can go past taunts. So we'll see.
I had some really tough games against Freeze Mages this week. They seemed to be back in like full force. I don't know what was going on.
Well, if that would be surprising to me if it happened before the nerfs hit, but I think we're definitely going to start seeing some mages that maybe Pyroblast will kind of come back in, especially like the Frostbolt Ice Lance stuff. That's a lot of burn that gets right past taunt, so they don't even care. Like, oh, you put out all these Molten Giants. That's awesome. Here you go. Bam, you're dead. It's going to be interesting to see how this kind of shakes out. But I think right now, right after these nerfs, if you're looking for a good deck to play, give Handlock a shot. I will say this, though, and I've said it on the show before. This deck takes heart. You cannot play this deck if you're not willing to life tap on 15 health or 10 health or 7 health sometimes. It's crazy. But you got to be willing to kind of go for it. And if you have that in you, then you're going to do well.
Awesome. Jocelyn, I forgot to ask you your thoughts on the nerfs that happened today. Obviously, we talked about them last week. You were missing. They were announced. The nerf to Leroy Jenkins and the Buzzard.
Oh, my poor Hunter.
Oh,
Exactly what we
I'm just like,
expected you
I
to
don't
say.
even really, I mean, I mentioned before I was having fun with Control Warrior, and that's probably what I'm going to keep playing. But it's really nice to have a deck that you can just switch to, and the games go really quickly because sometimes just you get burnt out on Control Warrior. And that was always Hunter. Now I don't even want to play Hunter. I'm just like, oh,
I
stupid.
guess you can always go back to Zoolock.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I
I'm
feel
not
like
very
there's
happy
a
with
good
my
Hunter
Zoolock
deck out
either.
there. We just don't know it yet, but there is a good
Yeah.
one.
I think, and a lot of people have said, oh, well, you know, it's a 3/2 now. It doesn't die so fast. I'm like, yeah, but that's not what I ever used it for. Like, you use it for
Yeah.
card draw. You don't use it for a creature. So,
Also, it's a 3/2 on turn 5. Who the hell wants that?
Yeah, no, you don't want that. No, absolutely not.
Nobody wants that damn thing.
yeah.
I think
so,
what you're going to see is people move towards aggro with Hunter. So you're going to be kind of card starved, but you don't really care because you're just doing damage to the face and whatever.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of where it's going to head, but we'll see at some point. Maybe a control one comes back.
Yeah, and
We're
I
gonna be
might,
the
I
only-
might give a shot at building a Hunter deck and seeing if I can make it work, but I don't know.
We're gonna
Maybe
be-
I just need to change and play, like, I don't know, Shaman. No, I don't like Shaman. Druid.
No, do a shaman. Do it. Go for it.
Oh, Garrett, you've been trying to convert me for months.
I know, and I haven't even
That's not
played.
gonna happen.
I haven't played shaman all season, so I'm kind of a traitor to my own kind.
I've hardly played anything all season, man. Oh, this vacation really
How
ruined me.
dare Ryan get married?
I know.
how dare he.
What a jerk.
Him and his stupid, nerdy, awesome wedding. All right, well let's take some crazy game stories.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
And that's what it'll sound like when you play your Jiraxis using Handlock and he dies. Shatterproof writes in. By the way, you can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. And thank you to Jocelyn for putting the name at the top of the email this week. I appreciate it. Shatterproof sends us a crazy game story this week. He said, I was playing my Death Rattle Priest that I've been using for a couple of weeks now and went up against a Control Warrior named Jocelyn. We both kept at full health until the late game. He had something like 12 armor at one point. 12, that's nothing. 12 armor.
Yeah, that's not very much.
I trip over more armor than that. He said we ended up going into where neither of us had any cards in our deck and we were taking damage. Since we were both at full health, it was going to essentially be whoever went first, him, that died. He had no more cards and I had only one. However, he had a single minion on the board, which was enough damage to which was doing enough damage to me to make me go down faster than him. It finally got down to the last turn before I would have died from card draw, and I pulled out my one card, Alexstrasza, setting me from now 2 health back to 15. He emoted in frustration. I hit end turn and watched him take fatal damage from card draw the next round.
That's the perfect card to draw when you're in a fatigue situation there.
Yeah.
Is it,
Yeah,
Dills?
pretty good. Pretty good.
That's one of the best feelings.
I mean, yeah, Deathwing wouldn't do it. Alexstrasza, that would do it. It's funny because he talks like 12 armor is a lot. It is a lot, but I see warriors get up to 20 plus consistently these days.
Yeah. I usually, when I'm playing, I'm around 20, 25-ish.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And then for 1 mana, you just kill anything. It's insane.
Exactly.
It's not fair.
Oh, Shield Slam. Could you imagine, Dills, if it was like Magic and you could put as many copies of a card in your deck as you wanted?
No, that would be insane.
Then
I do want Blizzard to implement that though into the game. Is like just a free for all format. I think we've mentioned it on the show before, but
Well, that would make the
just anything. Just do anything you want.
That would make the Lord of the Arena tournament an actual arena tournament.
That's true. Yeah. By the way, that was quite fun to watch. We're going to talk about it later, but I think we have an email about it. But
We do, yeah.
that would be very interesting. I think. I just want to do it against my friends. I just want to see that. Not even the one where it's like 30 Soulfires versus 30 whatever. I just want to see like What if I put in 30 30 loot hoarders against something, that kind of stuff? I think that would be interesting.
Oh man, I can't wait to draw another loot hoarder.
Or how about I play you, we both play Hunter, we both play 30 web spinners.
Web spinners, that's what I was going to say.
Go at
Best
it. Best
game ever.
That would be,
so fun.
That would be so delightful. Why?
Just for the fun factor, it would be cool.
Why aren't we doing this? Oh, because we can't. That's why.
Because Blizzard has to put it in the game first. That's why we're not doing it.
Make it happen. Add it to the long list of angry chickens.
Yeah, you got nothing else going on.
Make it happen. Alrighty, let's take some emails.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
Emails or apparently MP3 calls can be sent to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our first one today is just that, an MP3 call from Kenneth.
Hello, the Angry Chicken. My name is Kenneth Godwin, Patreon supporter and host of the Quest Complete podcast. So for as long as I can remember, there's been talk about certain decks being a problem for people climbing the ladder, like Miracle Rogue, Handlock, and Zoolock, and certain Hunter decks, to the point that even Blizzard nerfed Starving Buzzard and Leroy. What if instead of trying to balance around cards, they instead balanced around the amount of times that you have played a certain deck in a row? So instead of getting a hot streak and bonus stars because you've played Miracle Rogue 14 games in a row, the game sees that you haven't changed a deck in, say, 4 or 5 games and simply doesn't award you bonus stars. Instead, bonus stars can be earned by switching decks every few games, assuming that you're still winning those games. I think that this could help eliminate some of the problem decks that are all over the ladder right now, like Leroy and Miracle, as well as be more of an incentive for players to get out of their comfort zone and play around with more classes. Obviously, this isn't a perfect plan, so I'd love to hear what you guys think.
What do you think, Jocelyn?
Wow. I think it is a great idea. I mean, we hear about people all the time complaining about these decks that everyone's using, people complaining about just net decking in general. And I think that if people had to switch between even 2 decks would really mix up the ladder a lot. So I think that would be really cool. It would be difficult to implement, I think. That would be a lot of tracking for Blizzard to see like how many times in a row you'd switched or didn't switch. And I feel like that's probably more data than we kind of think it is, especially with 20 million people. That I feel like that's a lot, but maybe they can do it. But it would be really cool to kind of use the bonus star as more of an incentive than just a win streak, to mix up the game a little.
I don't like this idea.
Thank you.
I gotta be honest. I think the problem here is that if I want to play a deck, I want to play the deck, and I don't want to be told by Blizzard that I can't play the deck or else I'm going to suffer the consequences. I just want to play the deck I want to play, and inherently in card games there's going to be a good deck and a bad deck and a best deck and whatever, and that's just kind of how it's going to happen. But
how come I always end up playing devil's advocate somehow?
No, it's whatever. It's I'm just, this has nothing to do with your opinion versus mine. This is just my thought on the whole thing. But I do like the idea of some sort of action outside of nerfing the specific card, and that there's other ways to deal with that other than penalizing you for playing the same deck all the time. And I don't know exactly what that is, but
I also don't think this would be that effective from stopping you or I from going up against Miracle Rogue number 7, because it's not like we play the same person 3 games in a row.
Sure,
we'll be randomly matched with
that's
another person. And also, if you're just really freaking good with one specific deck, you probably don't give a crap, and you're going to just keep playing because you'd rather win than lose with the deck you don't like playing.
I think better than doing this and punishing the person playing the deck is maybe if you've played against Rogue 3 times in a row, they do their best to not match you up with another Rogue. That type of thing, I think, makes more sense than...
That's a good idea.
To
break it up a little.
Yeah, just try to not ever match you against the same deck you just played against, or the same class anyway. So, if I play a Hunter, it basically throws me into the queue. There's 200 million people playing this game, man. Oh, sorry. 20 million people playing this game. That I feel like they could definitely find, you wait an extra couple of seconds and you find a Warlock instead of a Hunter this time. Mm-hmm. Then the next time you find anything but a Warlock. You just basically take the queue and you say these eight classes are viable to play against you. And, then after you play that game, then the other one goes back into the pool and whatever. That would be a little bit better than this, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. Chat room is saying it sounds exploitable, but I don't really know how you could since it's ladder.
Well, if it's the I must switch decks to get bonus stars thing, you could just take the 2 best decks and just pop back and forth between them. So that's a little
Oh
bit
yeah, that way.
exploitable.
Yeah, that way.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought the chat room was mentioning the way you were talking about it, and I was like, that's not really exploitable.
I don't think they could. Yeah, I don't think you could exploit just taking the deck you just played out of the pool. And it's not even the deck; it's the class.
It's the class. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because there's multiple types of Warlock, so it's just like you just wouldn't play Warlock again the next time, and then Warlock could come back the game after that. Something like that. That could be okay. But again, I don't know. In the end, it all kind of sorts itself out. As long as Blizzard does its best to make sure that the balance is as close as it can be, and it's part of the game is figuring out how to kind of go against the current popular deck.
Agreed.
I mean, that's what separates really good players from the rest of us who are probably also pretty good, but the really good players figure out how to beat the meta.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree with everything Dill said and nothing Jocelyn said.
Yeah, fine.
Damn, burn!
I missed this so much. This whole ganging up thing. Never
Gary,
take
you're my
vacation
bro,
game.
dude. Oh my god.
Better get a bro fist
I
in there.
really appreciate Kenneth's call, actually.
No, but it's an interesting point he brought up. I like it.
Yeah. No, I completely disagree with it, but good thinking regardless. Good thoughts all around.
Is this mine?
That is yours.
Okay, this is from BG Ranger, who says, "Hello, chickens. Love your show. After finding it recently, I've really gotten back into Hearthstone. My question is there a place on the internet to see a complete schedule of upcoming Hearthstone tournaments? I hear about all these awesome tournaments that happened over the last weekend, but never seem to hear about them in advance. When I do hear about them, I always seem to have problems finding the schedule of games or can't find where they are being streamed or some other complication. How do I find out about these in advance? Thanks, and keep up the great work." Well, there's a Hearthstone calendar. I don't know if you know about this. There's all kinds of places to find this stuff.
It's also literally just HearthstoneCalendar.com.
This is correct. Yes. HearthstoneCalendar.com has all of this crap. It has pretty much everything in there. But all the other sites, too, just have listings of stuff going on. So you could even do as simple as search Hearthstone tournaments in Google and find all this stuff. Although it'll probably take you to Hearthstone Calendar.
The other one I look at a lot is Liquid Hearth, Team Liquid's Hearthstone site. They have a really good calendar on the top right bar. The website has a bazillion little pod things, and if you haven't been reading Team Liquid for years like I have for StarCraft, it can be a little daunting. But on the right side, there's a calendar.
Yeah. There's a ton of resources out there. If you just kind of do your due diligence and search them out, you'll find a ton of stuff. And there's also a lot of stuff that they're continuous tournaments that happen every single week at the same time. So once you find one that you can play in, and there's a bunch of them that are free. So once you find that one, just keep showing up every week, keep playing it, and you'll have a good time.
Sweet. Jocelyn, anything to add?
Nope, nothing at all. I was going to say the calendar, so no. I got nothing.
Gotcha.
Good old Hearthstone calendar. Check it out.
Go ahead and take the next email then.
All right, this one comes to us from an Angry Chicken patron who actually, I don't know why, but didn't put his name in. So anyways, we'll just go with patron.
Well, really,
the
you're
issue
only...
that you wanted... What?
I was going to make the joke that we're really only taking emails from people who sent us money. That's what this is boiling
Which
down
is
to.
not true. I actually thought about that, and then I was like, no, these are actually just really good emails. So.
Yeah, you don't make it to the top. By the way, I do have to point something out. Cal from Game Night apparently sent us an email, and it didn't get read, and he's very mad. So
I'll have to go back
now
through.
has to talk Cal down. So
can we?
Thanks, Garrett and Jocelyn, who
Hey,
handled
Dills, since he can see you in person, do you want to just show him the inbox?
Sure. All right. Show the inbox.
I was gonna say I do my absolute best, but like most of the time I'm at work, I'm on my lunch, I'm like looking through, I'm like,
I'll give you guys a
so much
tip.
reading.
If you send us an email and it doesn't get read, I'll give you a tip. Just send it again, because it's just we can't get to all of them, and but we try our best.
I try to flag them, and then by the time I get back around, I'm just like, oh man, now this email is like 4 weeks old and it doesn't really apply anymore.
Yeah.
I tried
Send
so
it
hard,
again.
guys.
Send it again. Don't give up. Don't give up just on one try.
And
Keep trying.
don't stop sending emails, guys. We love them. We make
do.
jokes
Don't stop
about how
leaving.
insurmountable the inbox is, but I have been on the opposite end of that and doing shows where no one seemed to care enough to send emails. So
where you just make up questions.
This is
Yeah,
awesome,
I had a show one time when I first started podcasting where we went to an advice website and pulled their questions and then asked them to us. Seriously.
one of my favorite podcasts.
It was all done in jest anyway, but
That's
it was
amazing.
funny. So, yeah.
That's basically, you just described one of my favorite podcasts, but they vary. The whole point is to just take questions off of Yahoo Answers and then make fun of them. But
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Can I read the email now?
You can read it now, Jocelyn. I'm sorry. We're all giddy tonight. We're just so happy you're back.
That's
We
true.
didn't have anyone to completely disagree with on somebody suggesting in an email.
Oh, I'm glad I could fill that void for you guys. Makes me feel really great about my lot in life.
Oh, come on.
So, the issue that the emailer wanted to raise was about actually, and I don't want to go too into this because everyone's going to go, the chick reading the chick email. Anyways, how
Don't
women are
defend
being
yourself before you even read it.
treated, how women are
This
being
is a valid
treated
email. I've seen
is a
other
valid
there's lots
email.
of threads about this. Yeah.
In competitive Hearthstone. So in the most recent Lord of the Arena event hosted by Reynad, the Shoutcasters made some very uncomfortable comments about two of the competitors, Hafu and Nadia. Though within the context, they seem very harmless and in good jest. Crip commenting that whenever he would watch a girl stream, he'd rather watch something else, which, ouch. And Reckful saying that Tide should throw his match against Nadia for grill points. So we're not even spelling girl properly now. And that Trump should do the same against Hafu. So these comments alone are obviously not that big a deal, but as Hafu commented in a stream later that night, they were unnecessary and very hurtful to the women participating. By placing emphasis on Hafu and Nadia being women, the casters had inadvertently trivialized their talent as competitors. I actually found the comments to be very cringy whilst watching the tournament, and this brings up the question of political correctness in large competitions. Though Lord of the Arena may be a smaller tournament, when streams start to attract 40,000 plus viewers, I think political correctness should be taken into greater account. As Hafu mentioned on her stream, the comments came off as alienating and hurtful, even though they were not intended that way. I think the main issue of the problem is the emphasis that the community chooses to place on female gamers. Rather than seeing them as just another player, commenters feel the need to point out that they're women, and because they are women, a male player may feel the need to place a handicap to even the field or simply let them win for grill points. So I agree. I think that there is definitely a place for jokes, but I think what makes this story a little bit different is that Hafu actually went out of her way to say that it was hurtful. And I think that they do need to kind of... I guess I just don't understand why does it matter, especially in a game like Hearthstone, where there's...
It doesn't.
Yeah, like it seems so odd to me that you would feel like you have to point it out.
Yeah, I think the issue here, and I watched this tournament. I think the issue here is that I don't think, like, I'm not going to say that Crip and Reckful are misogynistic douchebags who hate women or whatever, but
now someone's going to take that.
You don't know them. Yeah, and you don't know these two guys, and you don't know that they know Nadia and they know Hafu, and they feel like they have this camaraderie that allows them to make these kind of jokes. It's going to come across pretty bad, and it should come across pretty bad. It's not like, I'm not saying that makes this fine. What I'm saying is that they took their personal kind of relationships with these people and the Twitch kind of memes of girls are not girls, they're grills. And that all started because someone just typed GIRL in the wrong order. It's the same as like pwn.
Pwn, yeah.
And you know, grill is not necessarily derogatory on its own, but it's become that way because how it ends up getting used. And none of this like means that any of this is okay. What I just want to point out that, like, they didn't mean it that way, but it's very true that when 70,000 people are watching the stream, not everyone is in on the joke. And that doesn't mean that you can just make the joke. Like, I have friends who grew up saying when something was bad that it was gay. And they never saw a problem with it because it was within their little circle of friends. But guess what? There's a huge problem with it. And this is the same thing. It's like, I don't care if you don't know there's a problem with it. You're actually hurting people's feelings. There is a problem with that. So don't do it. And if you do it, you're going to get some backlash. And I'm fully on board with Not saying these people are bad, but denouncing the way that they talked about this. I disagree, and I like Crip and I like Reckful, but I disagreed with how they handled that situation, and it sucks because a lot of people got their feelings hurt, and that shouldn't happen. But
well, and I mean, a lot of people are saying it's going too far. It's going too far in terms of like the PC-ness and everyone always having to watch what they say, and I don't necessarily agree with that. But I think that you do need to understand the context of what you're saying and when you're saying it. And like Dills, you mentioned the number of viewers. Like you just have to think like, would I be comfortable standing up in front of literally 70,000 people on a stage, say, and saying comments like this? And if you're just kind of like, oh, well, maybe not, then, just because you're talking to, your friend or, whatever, doesn't mean that there's not a huge amount of people watching you say what you're saying. So just, take that into account. Yeah, just,
I'm not the overly PC person either in my own life. Like I say so. I talk like a sailor from time to time, and I give it and I get it and I dish it out. Like me and my friends, we talk all kinds of crap to each other. But when it comes down to it, I never want to make someone feel bad, and I don't think anybody wants to make someone feel bad.
That's really, like I said before, like the fact that Hafu actually said, like, no, this made me feel like crap. Like that's enough.
She wants to be a Hearthstone player, not a grill Hearthstone player. She just wants to be a Hearthstone player. She has every right to be a Hearthstone player because she's very good at Hearthstone.
There's a running joke on either of you watch the Stephen Colbert Show on Comedy Central?
Of course.
There's a running joke with that show. I mean, the show's been going for a long time. That where whenever he has a guest on who's coming on to talk about an issue of race or some sort of segregational issues, he sits down and like if they're Stephen Colbert's a white dude, if his guest is black or some other heritage, he has that joke that's just like, now I'm told you're black, but I don't actually see race.
But I don't see color.
And as much as it's clearly like a dumb joke, I kind of feel like that's how we should just treat day-to-day life. Like it shouldn't friggin' matter. Like
well, he's making that joke because it's pretty popular for white people to say, oh, racism is over. I don't care that you're black.
Right. I get
secretly
that.
underneath, like they're.
What I'm saying is like, Hafu should be regarded as a Hearthstone player first, and then anything else is fine. It shouldn't be like, oh, she's a female Hearthstone. No, she's just a Hearthstone player. Yeah. Who gives a crap?
I do want to point out this one thing though about this tournament is that there's a ton of invitational tournaments where there are no girls invited. Period. And one thing about this tournament that was great was these were invited players. And they did invite Hafu and Nadia, who are top streamers and very good players. Nadia's been a legend multiple times. Hafu's been legend. She qualified for BlizzCon. She's one of the best arena players out there. They definitely deserve to be invited, but they don't deserve to have them talked about as if they're only worth grill points. And, I wouldn't watch their stream because I would rather watch something else, like that kind of stuff. They don't deserve that. They deserve to just be invited as Hearthstone players.
No,
that's
exactly.
really the underlying issue is just that, do we need to continue talking about how this is a girl playing Hearthstone? Or, and I really like Caseytron because she makes fun of the whole thing in a very kind of overt way. Like she's just like, I'm throwing this in your face, but that came from somewhere. That's trolling coming from a place of actual reality, like that. This is what happens, and I'm going to satirize this, and it's biting, and it's but at the underlying issue here is that this is for real. There's girls who play games and are talked about in a pretty derogatory way, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah, and if you want to expand upon it, there's been some really heinous stuff going on this month in the world of gaming, surrounding the way this anonymous mass treats women. And it's disgusting.
No, and none of that should happen. But it's kind of on us. The ship is being piloted by a bunch of video game players. And yeah, we all think that all the Twitch chat and all the whatever is funny, the kappas and the kappa pastas and whatever. This stuff is hilarious, yes. But in the end, it's like we also have an opportunity here to make this kind of a legitimate thing. And if we lose sight of that, and we make too many jokes about grill points, we may end up messing this up. So let's just be chill, everybody, and let's not concentrate on the things that don't friggin' matter. So that's it. Yeah.
Good points all around.
Yeah.
Jocelyn, you didn't need to defend yourself at all for bringing
Yeah,
this
like
in.
Jocelyn's not a girl host of the Angry Chicken. Jocelyn is a host of the Angry Chicken.
Thank you.
And Jocelyn, you brought up context, which I think is also really important because obviously we tease you quite a bit on the
Yeah.
show. We make blonde jokes, we make all kinds of crap, but I feel like it's because we know each other pretty damn
Wait, do
well.
we make blonde jokes? When did that happen? I missed it.
I guess a lot of those happen off stream, like when we first get
Yeah, I
on,
was gonna
and
say.
Jocelyn has just dyed her hair again, and we're like, "Oh, look at you going full on, super blonde mode."
Yeah.
Usually, I'll go for the Super Saiyan jokes, but sometimes I go for the low hanging fruit as well, of just stupid blonde joke. But I feel like that's because we're pretty close at this point, and I would assume if I was pissing you off, you would let me know.
Absolutely. I would tell you exactly what I thought about
yeah,
you, but
yeah.
not on stream.
Well, feel free. But yeah, I don't know. I think context is really important. If it was a super, I don't know, like I don't even know how to do it. Like where this would be okay, but if obviously.
Well, I mean,
people
like
are-
you just said, where it's okay. Like you and I off
okay with
stream
your bros.
joking
Yeah.
around, you make fun of
Jocelyn's
the
my
fact that I
bro.
just did my hair again, and then on stream we talk about Hearthstone.
Also, for the record, I probably spend more time on my hair than you do on yours, so I have the right to make those jokes.
That is very, very true. Mine takes about 10 minutes.
Yeah, if we want to talk about grills, we got to talk about Garrett first and foremost here. I mean,
Don't judge me.
here's what you got to do, Garrett. Get a hat, put it on, profit. That's just saying.
Bretman in
Although
the chat.
I love your hair, it's beautiful.
Bretman in the chat room gets it. He says Jocelyn is a girl. Sorry, I don't see gender. he gets it.
Yeah. I also just want to point out I don't condemn Crip and Reckful at just them personally. I think they're both fine. I think in this scenario they kind of lost sight of the fact that they weren't just hanging out with their buddies, and they just
They just put their foot in their
70,000
mouths.
people watched this
Happens.
happen, and
Yeah.
it happens. I've done it. I'm sure plenty of times. I'm sure I've said things where people have been like, "What, Dills? I can't believe you said that." There's 100,000 people who download the instance. We've had so many letters. Well, they're not letters. They didn't get them on snail mail,
Emails.
but emails saying like, "Can't believe Dills said that about the Seahawks or whatever it is." People get offended, and
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings ever. And sometimes you lose sight of that, and you don't want. I don't know. I don't want people to feel bad.
I could probably lay out all of the hate mail I've received from Patriots fans and encompass the globe at least twice.
Do we care about Patriots fans?
No,
Sorry.
because
Okay, never mind.
they picked the wrong team.
joking. But no, yeah, I mean, yeah, we just need to point out the obvious here, and that is that Hearthstone players are Hearthstone players, male or female. This is not a game that requires you to lift heavy weights or whatever, and even if it did, that still doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It makes no freaking difference.
I'm about to say
This is
I've
all about playing Hearthstone. It
I've
doesn't
met
matter.
many
It's like
people
poker.
of both genders that could definitely lift way more weights than me.
Oh, absolutely. But no, it's just it's about playing a game that requires you to be good at something mentally, and there's no friggin' reason why being a girl or a guy matters to that extent.
Right.
So anyway, there you go.
Stick a fork in it. I think this conversation is done.
Yep. Should we take chat room
We can
questions?
take some chat room questions.
All right, chat room
Hit
questions.
us, chat room. Hit us with your best shot. Brr, brr, brr.
And now we wait for the chat room to catch up.
Why don't you? Yeah.
Well, ooh, damn, that was really almost on spot, Dills. Be careful, they're gonna mute the Twitch VOD because your
It's
cover
spot
of
on,
that song
right?
is so
Yeah.
spot on. Oh, Jocelyn, I have a question for you.
Oh, I have an answer.
What Green Day song did you boost in the radio that got you and your mom both so darn excited? I saw that
Oh
that
my
tweet.
god. Oh, I'm trying to remember now. I was really, really drunk, dude.
I hope you weren't driving.
No, my mom was driving because she is the best ever. We
Well-
stayed in Peterborough, which is the wedding was in Peterborough, which was a 2-hour drive from our house. And we stayed there until 12:30. And then my mom drove me home. And I was That's pretty gone. She's a trooper.
Was it old or new Green Day, or can you even?
Oh
tell
no, it was
the
old.
difference?
It was old Green Day.
Old Green Day.
Old
Okay.
Green Day.
1039 smooth out slappy hours.
I
old?
don't think that kind of old makes it on the radio
Kerplunk
dills.
old?
No,
Are you saying
nor
that,
does that.
like Warning is old? Is that your version of old Green
No,
Day?
no, it was pre that. I'm trying. I can't remember. It's gonna.
Kerplunk?
Really gonna bug me now.
If we could fan out,
Dookie?
if we could fan out for a quick second, Dills, how many versions of Green Day are there for you? Because to me, there's two chunks. There's after American Idiot and before American Idiot.
I was gonna say American Idiot.
I actually consider Warning to be the split, because that was when they kind of moved from we're just a punk rock band into we play acoustic stuff sometimes too.
Yeah, but then American Idiot hit, and it was like nothing at all like Warning. It couldn't have been further from it.
Warning was the moment that kind of veered off, I think.
Yeah,
like,
but
before that, it was all Green Day was Green Day. You knew a Green Day song the moment you heard it.
I guess I lump Warning into the first chunk, because I feel like if you listen to Nimrod, you can hear Warning. You can hear like the lead up to Warning.
Really? You think so?
There's 18 tracks on Nimrod, man, and they get pretty weird on some of those tracks.
No, they do. I mean, yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on there, but I think that Warning kind of started the trend of we can be more than just the kind of the pop punk band with the upstroking chord changes. That to me was always Green Day for the longest time, and then that's when it kind of shifted.
I guess I'll give you that. It still had like Minority though, it just sounded like good old fashioned Green Day.
Yeah, but that's a cover.
Minority?
Yeah, isn't it?
No.
Am I thinking of a different song? I'm thinking of a different song.
There are no covers on Warning that I'm aware of.
Oh, Warning, the Minority song on Warning. Oh, yeah. No, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah. Anyway.
Dill's chat room wants to know who's going to win BlizzCon.
Oh, Tides of Time.
There you go, chat room. Heard it here first.
I'm going to go with a dude we've never heard of.
I'm going to go with Matthew. I have a good feeling about that guy.
we could say that it would be somebody we never heard of, and that's probably correct. But if we're going to pick like one person and give them the best shot, I'm going with Tides of Time all the way, because I think right now he's the best Hearthstone player. Like he's just really freaking good at this game, man.
Yeah.
You watch him play, he's never out of control. On his stream sometimes he'll get like drunk and weird, but I think Tides.
Yeah, unlike, there's no one on this show that gets drunk and weird sometimes on this stream.
No, never. Hell no.
Never happened.
What? Come on, who would do that?
Please.
Scoob the Reaper said, if you don't have Mountain Giants for Handlock, what would be the best alternative? I would say don't play Handlock. Like,
if you don't have Mountain Giants,
Mountain Giants are kind of the bread and butter, man. You want that turn 4 Mountain Giant.
I think Moltons are the bread and butter. I would call Moltons the bread and butter, but Mountain Giant is what gets all of the removal out of the way and paves the way for your Molten Giants. And yeah, you can't really get away without those. So, I think play something different for sure. Earn those. I mean, I know they're epic, so they cost a lot to craft, but there's a lot of other decks you can play that don't require them. So.
Have either of you guys seen Amaz's DK and Monk classes?
I saw his DK, and his DK is ridiculous and will never be, because it's way overpowered.
I haven't seen either of these.
But he's got some interesting concepts in there. I did not see I heard he just put the Monk thing out.
Yeah, the Monk thing I think just went up this afternoon, I want to say. Because I think I saw it, he was tweeting that he was going to release it when I was at the airport, so.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it yet.
Well, if his DK was ridiculous and overpowered, I can only assume.
He's not working from the same. It's a single guy, and I appreciate his efforts, and I think it's really cool that he's coming up with stuff like that. But yeah, he's not coming from the kind of breadth of knowledge that Blizzard has about what works and what doesn't. So the ideas are sound, but in practicality, they're not going to work. It's like some of this stuff is just ridiculous. And of course, I'm sure a lot of the cards that Ben Brode and gang makes are ridiculous until they tune them. So it's not a bad starting point. It's just, it's OP as hell. So what he came up with was insane. It's never going to work in that format. But you could take those ideas and take those cards and then tune them correctly, and it would be fine.
All right. I'm not.
There was a
What
bunch
other-
of questions. Come on, guys.
I know there's so many
that's the problem.
there's so many
They're going-
questions. I can't read through it fast enough to pick one.
And I keep scrolling up, and then it moves because someone else comments.
Uh,
There was questions before the Dillstradamus thing. Why is Jocelyn's drink empty?
because I'm doing a show and I can't get up to refill it.
Is Cult Master a viable sub for Buzzard? No.
No.
The problem is, it's actually fine in like Arena to draft a Cult Master.
It's always been fine in Arena, though. That's not
no. But
Mancer.
in a Hunter deck specifically, you can draft it, for the Buzzard or for the Unleash combo, right? And you could play Unleash and you could play a Cult Master, and then you could sack all your doggies. And
Get
the
a bunch of
problem
cards.
in Constructed is it's still too slow, and also you don't draw the cards until they die, so you can't do what Buzzard Unleash did previously, which was draw the Hunter's Mark before you start sacking the doggies. So yeah, it just doesn't quite work.
Yeah, it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
TAC tournament in the near future. Actually, yeah, that's a fantastic question because we're not actually doing an Angry Chicken tournament, but there's going to be an AIE tournament on October 4th. So,
Oh yeah, I can make it, by the way.
huh?
Sorry, I can make it. Yes.
Yay!
I will
so
be-
Dills and I are going to go up against 6 patrons, and that goes towards keeping the AIE Guild Hall open for BlizzCon. So I don't have exactly all the details. All I know for sure is that it starts at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on October 4th. So I'll be organizing that, and we're going to have a ton of fun. I'm going to stream. I'm sure Dills is going to stream. And yeah, it's going to be great. I'm super stoked. As soon as I have more information about how you can get in on one of those 6 spots, I will let you guys know.
Cool.
And I will crush you.
I will be.
Oh, dude, you're screwed.
I will probably be losing my first Magic Grand Prix. That's what I'll be doing that day.
You're actually playing in a Grand Prix, like a legit one.
Yeah, it's for limited. I'm not playing. Well, I'm playing. There's also
Yeah,
I
I thought the
believe,
Grand Prix were like a collection of different formats.
there's usually there's like I believe there are multiple ones that come to Florida, and this is the only one that's coming to Florida that has a sealed event.
Oh, okay.
And if I make it to day 2, it is then a draft event.
I see. Okay.
But
Yeah, so it goes limited, draft, and then what, standard for the final day or something?
well, no, I think there's a standard constructed tournament going on the whole weekend as well. That's separate.
All right.
I believe.
Okay, before you
but-
guys go way down the magic
No,
rabbit hole
that's,
again,
that's it. Done.
we only have Dills for another like 10 minutes. So,
Oh no, I'm good actually. I just found out we're not doing the show, so I'm good.
oh,
Oh,
nice.
cool.
We got
All the
one of my
questions, I
co-hosts
guess.
has a sick kid, so bring
Oh.
on the questions.
Too bad.
I will be
So
streaming after we're done.
nice. Are Hearthstone seasons too short? Do you guys think they should be longer?
Nope.
For
Not
my
gonna
own,
expand on that at all. You're just gonna let Dills talk. Come on,
I
dude.
thought they were too long, or I thought they were too short at first because again, I came from StarCraft.
Well, yeah.
But now I think it's perfect. I love that it's actually based off of normal damn day. It's like, hey, the month is over, new season. I love that.
It's very easy to keep track of. It
Right.
gives me a really good goal. Like I can say, okay, first day, start playing, and like I know I have a certain number of weeks until the end, and yeah, I like it
Yeah,
short.
it's not some type of weird artificial.
I think they could do like 45 days though, and the month thing doesn't matter, and just 45 days.
No.
And
No,
I
but
think
then
it'd
it's
still be fine.
But then you have to go in game to check. Like if it's a month,
No, but
I
I'm
can
not-
look at
I'm
a
not,
calendar
like,
and I
mad
know.
about it. I don't think it's bad the way it is, but I'm saying it could be 45 days and it would also be fine. I don't think that it needs to be exactly this or exactly that. I think it would be fine either way. I personally would like them to be longer so I could get Legend because I don't have enough time to play all the time. But if they were 45 days, it would also be fine. Like, it just would be. But I don't think they need to change.
Well, here's
Control. Oh, sorry. Go, Garrett.
yeah, I'm stopping you right there. I know you were about to get in here with a really probably a good question, but Explode 77 has put in the most serious, hard-hitting
Freaking Star
question.
Wars.
This is going to put our entire discussion on sexism in gaming straight to bed because he wants to know Ewoks or Jawas. Go.
Fucking Jawas, dude. All the way,
I
man.
go with Jawas. My fiance's gonna kill me because she loves Ewoks. It was,
I was gonna
How
say
the fuck
Ewoks.
did you ever say Ewok? Sorry.
but yeah, no, Jawas all the way, man. Jawas.
Now Garrett's gonna have to go in and bleep you.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't even notice.
Okay, yeah, he didn't notice because he's like so blinded by the fact that I'm right. He can't even hear the F-bomb being dropped.
Yeah,
Look,
no, Jawas are the best, like without a doubt.
Ewoks when they celebrate, they take sticks and pound on stormtrooper helmets.
And they sing Chub Nub.
When Jawas celebrate, they friggin' just march droids into their big ship because that is the celebration. Now it's time to get back to work. There's no time to celebrate and pound on stormtrooper helmets. Come on, man.
So you like the ones that don't party? What's wrong with you?
No, that is partying. That's fine. We got more droids to find, more droids to sell.
Well,
We got a lot of stuff
Dills
to
knows
do.
that if he tried to party with the Ewoks, they would just end up eating him. Whereas the Jawas would try and...
because I would happen to have some little snack in my little thing here. And I could be like, here you go, little cute Ewok. And he'd be like, oh, what is that? Stupid. Come on, whatever.
Whereas Jawas would try and sell him a sweet-ass land speeder.
Yeah, they'd be like, that's fine.
After someone ran over his speeder bike.
They'd be like, your little snack thing is fine, but this speaks the binary language. Sorry.
The binary language
Never
of
mind,
moisture
I'm gonna stop right
evaporators.
there.
Finish it.
I
Finish
sound
it, man.
too friggin' nerdy, and I just, no.
Do it. Come on, do it.
Do you speak
No,
bocce?
that's it. That's enough for me.
This R2 unit has a bad motivator. Look. Hey, what are you trying to pull?
Yeah, I can't catch a break this week. No one ever agrees with me. Sorry,
Oh, Ewoks for you?
Ewok.
It's
Oh,
okay.
dude,
Yeah.
Ewoks.
Jocelyn, Katie's going to bust down the door and like scream Ewoks. Like, it's
If I'm gonna
okay.
take
You're
a
not
fuzzy
alone.
if I'm gonna take a fuzzy creature from Star Wars, it's always gonna be Wookiees though. And
They're not little,
yeah.
though.
They're like, but
They're
well,
like
no,
actually
yeah, I said
tall.
little, and then I was like, wait, never mind. No, but Wookiees that's the fuzzy creature from Star Wars that you care about, not
adorable.
Anyways, one more Hearthstone question, then we'll put the.
An actual.
Yeah, then we'll switch to
question
after
this time?
show when we can talk about magic and Star Wars and no one gets mad.
Let's see. I'll find one. Is this a Hearthstone podcast?
Yes.
Yes, we are at the end of the show, so we're getting wildly off topic.
No, that's the thing. is You've
But-
reached the end point here. Now we're
Yep.
just answering questions.
Yep.
Do you think good old Face Hunter will make a comeback if people are playing lots of handlocks? This, I think, is a good question. The problem with the Face Hunter against the handlock is that yes, you get them down really low, but then you enable the Molten Giants and the taunts and all that stuff. So I think we're going to see a new breed of Face Hunter. I don't think Face Hunter has enough. Like they don't have the burn that mages have. So in a sense, they won't work quite as well as the mages did against the handlock, because you're relying on things like Kill Command and Arcane Shot to actually get past these big taunters. But I think you're going to start seeing the return of things like Deadly Shot and some of these ways that Hunter has to remove a lot of stuff to allow those kind of face minions to get through. So I think we will see a version of that come back, but it's not going to be in the same form that we saw previous.
I have nothing to add to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I covered it all. That's why.
And I totally wasn't even listening.
At least you're honest, Jocelyn. At least you're honest.
I was answering questions in the chat room.
Oh, well.
Oh, these are bonus answers that Josh.
Well, those of you listening who are not patrons, I hope you enjoyed this like sneak peek of what the after show usually devolves into.
The after show is so much fun.
And for those of you who are enjoy the extra random questions, I think that'll do it for this week's episode. As always, we want to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. This week specifically, I want to thank Jesse S., Rich H., David P., William I., and Jonas F. Thank you guys so much for supporting the Angry Chicken. What are we up to now? I forgot to even check. I'm just loading it up real quick. We have 240 patrons even, pledging $1,461 a month to help us make this show, and we cannot thank you guys enough. This is insane. Thank you. And also, thank you to those of you who are leaving us reviews in the iTunes store. If you're an iTunes listener, we would really appreciate it if you would leave us a review. Terror Terror303 left us a review this week saying, "This show isn't awesome. It's kill a mage with a double rock-bitten wind-fury sheep awesome." So, thanks for that, Terror303. Also, thanks to Justin D, Morlu, Elements 262, Hikobi, and was there anyone from Canada this week, Jocelyn?
Yes, we had Nick Morelli from Canada who left us a 5-star review. So thank you for that, Nick.
And thank you for the subtle correction on my obvious mispronunciation. As always, The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. Email us at tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our past live shows and other videos can be found over at youtube.com/StarcastShow. Last week's after show, which was actually pre-show, which was Dills coaching me in Tempo Priest, will be going up tomorrow for everyone, patron or non-patrons. So go over.
By the way, ignore that deck. It doesn't work anymore. His handlock is back. But enjoy us talking about it. I'm sure there's ways to fix it, and that'll make it work really well. But you can't play the exact one we were playing. Just telling you.
Gotcha. Anyways, go over to youtube.com/StarcastShow to check that out. You can get the Angry Chicken t-shirt over at /loot.com. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. We record live every Monday night on twitch.tv/amovetv at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Almost at 8. That's crazy. No, Dills is still working. Can't do that.
Can't do that.
Check out BrianGriffithMusic.com for the musician who made our intro music. Dills, where can folks find you?
You can find me on The Instance, the podcast about World of Warcraft, so you don't have to. And that happens on Fridays. We missed a couple weeks, but we were back last week. Terpster was in France, where the naked ladies dance. And me and Scott had a great show anyway. But yeah, that happens every Friday. Also, tomorrow, I'm going to take my crappy red-green Magic deck, and I'm going to go over to game night in San Francisco at Folsom Street Foundry at 6 p.m. and take on all comers and lose to all of them. It's going to be sweet. But I haven't played a single game with my new card, so somebody come by and hang out with me and play some games. It'll be fun. And also, the Mediocre Golf Association is nearing its end of the season for 2014. There's going to be some new content coming out pretty soon. Part 2 of Two Golfers, One Cart is imminent. It will be coming out very soon, and that features me and my co-host John Morley, or my co-founder of the MGA, John Morley. So if you want to find out what happened with us and Seabass, if you watched episode 1, Seabass was an angry man. We left a note after he hit into us a bunch of times. He called us pussies. Find out what happened next. It was funny. So you can check that out. We have a YouTube channel, Mediocre Golf Association. It's pretty easy to find.
That was better than any trailer I've ever seen for anything ever. Jocelyn, where can folks find you on the internet?
They can find me on Twitter at GISGamer. That is also my Twitch stream. I do the Gamers In right here on AMove TV every Friday night. Actually, this week, Ryan is not going to be there because he's on his honeymoon, but I do have...
selfish bastard.
I know, right? But I do have Octane Pro from Smite something that shows I can't remember if it's Smite Talk or Smite. I know, I feel so bad. Anyways, he does the official Smite podcast, whatever that is. Okay. And he is fantastic. So he's going to join me on Friday. Yeah.
It's Smite Talk.
It's like, yeah.
It's the word Smite followed by the word talk because he talks about Smite.
About Smite, right?
Yes. Octane Pro's a good guy. Make sure you go check that out. I forgot to mention my personal stuff. Follow me on Twitter at Garrett Art. Check out nomoonart.com for my graphic design portfolio, as well as a form to contact me for freelance if you're looking for a graphic designer. And also check out Into the Nexus, the Heroes of the Storm podcast, where this Thursday Kyle and I are going to have a lot of crap to talk about because we are entering beta. Yeah!
I know. I was hoping I could get home in time tonight to actually buy something because apparently there was like some mount thing or something. And then I got I saw a tweet or got an email from them saying that it was no longer a thing. And I was like, damn it.
Yeah,
I was so close. I was literally off the plane.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, you can still play the game, but the store is shut down.
Yeah, the store's gone.
Yeah, but all of the heroes are currently free to play. So get in there and play whoever the hell you want to play. Check out our sponsors, Doghouse Systems at doghousesystems.com. The code to use is TAC. It'll get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. We thank them for their support. We thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you all next week for episode 47 of The Angry Chicken. But until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!
I've got nothing.